What's up, everybody? It's Heat Override, and I'm ready to bring the pain for you today. Oh, yeah, it's National Retro Video Game Day. So that means there's a bunch of VGM podcasts that have been dropping podcasts all day long. I happened to listen to Martyrus. He gave me a shout out, maybe shed a tear, because he played a certain song that kind of hits me right now. So that was really cool. But let's just get right into it. We talk about gaming. You see me. Whoop, whoop. You got the player one right now. Matter of fact, I'm gonna pull a change up on you. Bam! What up? That's how we're rolling it today. Because it's National Video Game Retro Day. I'm a little weird. Anyway, so let's talk about video games. I mean, they have so many memories. As you've heard on my other podcasts and from all my video game music podcasts as well, that you've learned a lot about me and a lot of my friends. And of course, my brother, my mom, my dad, when my dad used to kick my butt at a real sports football for the Atari. And that's how it all starts. Playing Asteroids and Galaxy with my dad and Combat with my dad and my brother. We always had the extra thing. So what he did was he rented the Atari 2600 when it was able to be rented. And he brought it home and we all got to play it. So he got a whole bunch of games with it. And he did the rent to own or rent to buy option. So eventually we owned this 2600. And then eventually the Atari 7800 came out. Now I bought that myself, upgraded the two buttons. That was really cool. The long controller with the joystick in the middle. Man, it just felt so much better than that block that used to be in the hand. But another thing with the 7800, there was a lot of other games. And so, of course, I had accumulated a lot of Atari games, a lot of Atari peripherals. That's one thing I do pride myself on. I have a lot of peripherals that I got at early times that a lot of people really wouldn't have ran across. Like the one for my 3DO, I have an actual Super Nintendo adapter, and I got that in I think it was not Babbage's. I want to say it was the other one, Software Etc. And because they had the bigger 3DO. But then I saw this, I was like, oh, I can use this. It was $15. I mean, back then, probably 25 now, 30 now. But that allowed me two more controllers. And I did test this, you could use the actual Super NES, advantage, or not the advantage, the 4-player tap. So once you put that in, now you have 5 players. But, there was a lot of games that really didn't require that. So, that was one of the things that really, really got to me with, the things that I've always collected. I was one of the first things I ever remember growing. And, I'm not even talking about games or memories right now. I'm talking actually about peripherals. Ain't that funny? Right? So it's retro gaming. But this is what made gaming retro for me. So, I went to the store and I bought a system selector because I had so many video game systems. I still do have them all. And at any point, since I have my second little system selector that has an S video port, right? I can hook up any of my systems at any point, because what was really cool is I actually have a 3-way head. So it takes Xbox, it takes a PlayStation, and it takes the Nintendo, which is pretty much the Super Nintendo, AV out, and then it was ported to the GameCube, and then the same with the Nintendo 64. So that one cord serves 3 systems. It's easy, right? So, and then I just have my TurboGrafx 16 hooked up permanently. And then, of course, I have some audio video jacks for my Nintendo and for my 3DO. And that's really the best way. So I even modded my turbo. I mean, back in the day, you used to have to go buy a $100 thing called the Turbo Booster. Ooh, yeah, go to skies. And that thing would just do audio, video, pretty much make your sounds that you could put it through your stereo system. So I was actually listening to one of the podcasts. I want to see either it was the VG Embassy, or I want to say maybe the BG Mania podcast. It was one of those guys, and they talked about this same exact thing, that they didn't really have that many options back then. And then I'm like, wait a minute, that made me think. I was lucky to have those options. So he was talking about a stereo system, right? He didn't really hook it up. And I did. It was just one thing that always, I still have the same stereos up there. It's a Fisher 24 CD changer. I bet somebody out there has that same one, or had the upgraded model where it was more of a floor model. This is more of a shelf model. Man, it was great. and I saved like $300 on it, just going with the shelf model. But man, this thing was still expensive back then. I had to rent it, at the rent to buy. But the thing is when you get all these games and you put them all on that. So that's why video game music became so big for me. So when I talk about the NES and me finally buying my Nintendo Entertainment System and getting out of the Atari 7800 days, because if you listen to what a previous podcast, I talked about that my dad had elected to go with the Atari 7800 rather than the Nintendo system that Christmas, which got me made fun of. And that's okay. I had tough skin, so I went to work. I earned it myself. And again, the first games I brought home, the first three games I bought with it was Iron Sword, Wizards and Warriors Part Two, which has Fabio on the corner, our cover. And then of course I purchased Mega Man 2 and Ninja Gaiden 2. Ninja Gaiden 2 was like the newest, one of the newest games that had came out at that point. And I beat it. And one time after school, because all my friends had not even played it except the few that came to my house. And they were like, bro, there's no way you already beat Ninja Gaiden, right? Because it came out that weekend. And we're all talking on like Wednesday, Thursday. I was like, dude, I'm telling you, stop by my house after school and I'll play it. So I had like 10 people standing outside my window. This is no lie. My friends will vouch for this. They were there. They were part of it. They were in my room. I these people had never even set foot in my house outside my window watching me play Ninja Gaiden 2. Like, isn't that crazy? And I have a similar story coming up with that. But it was like, and I beat it. And I'm like, all right, guys, what? Yeah, I was the best. I also earned me a name. Sixth grade, they used to call me the Fiend. That was my name. And it was pretty much known well around that I was one of the best at video games of my clique of that school. I was just better. And my boy Dewan was just as good as me. So there was always that little bit of competition. But as I explained with Dewan in the past, Dewan was always the one person that I could always connect to. I never had to say anything to. He literally played video games like me. So when we got on like Super C and Contra 3, the Alien Wars, it was like magic. We knew we always had each other's back. And so one of my other friends, who, his name is John, we call him John. His last name's, a little different. We have a few Johns in our group. So one's Jay-Z, and not to be confused with the rapper. This ain't no rapper, huh? No way. I think he did try to rap though. Sorry, John. I mean, somebody gotta call you out. But I sang at the end of Ninja Gaiden 2. And so my brother one time was ripping on me. We was all ripping. And I think I called him fat. I'm sorry. I know that's not a nice thing to say. He was a big chubby guy, but I love him and he's gone now. So, I got some connections to do. And and he was like, no, Bobby. He was like, hey guys, guess what? Bobby sang to Ninja Gaiden 2. And they're like, dude, I was like, no, I didn't. He was like, Bobby has the tape right there. It's in his thing right there. I'll go over there and play it. Right. I was like, he ain't gonna go play it. Right. So I actually went to go bathroom a few minutes later, and he had all my friends listening to me singing Ninja Gaiden 2's ending theme. I was just singing to it. It was just crazy. It was things like that that always makes me think about retro gaming, those moments and moving on. So when I talked about that, it was like when Street Fighter 2 first came to the Super Nintendo and all my friends came over to play Street Fighter 2. Then there was friends that I had not seen for a long time. And there was literally 15 of us playing Street Fighter 2. And we were passing the peyote. And, that's what we called it back then. You pass the peyote, man. And go bang, bang, bang. And then everybody's like, Rob's trying to do that fireball, man. He's trying to do that Shoryuken, man. So at first, a lot of people got really sleepy because a lot of blocking wasn't good. So you had these people with like Chun-Li, always trying to do that double leg sweep thing she does. It just, for some reason, it reached. And of course, the E Honda people, ha, 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 ha. Get out of here, man, with that stuff. Yeah, I will tell you this: I will slap the hell out of E Honda nowadays with my boy Ken. It's Street Fighter 2 Turbo, 3DO version. I'm talking about y'all ain't got nothing on me. I'm pretty sure there's somebody out there that probably could kick my ass, but I will tell you what, man. If I got my hands back in shit, you ain't beating me in that game. You ain't beating me in that game. I'm telling you, I was good. And I got high compliments from people that actually go to tournaments and play people like this. And I dusted him. He pulled out E Honda. E Honda didn't go because he got a fireball up his ass. Oh yeah. And then when he was landing, he got a Shoryuken. Yeah. So that's what it's all about. That's the game. And so as I move along, talking about good times with families and friends. Yeah, I had my cousin reach out to me, my cousin Amanda, and she goes, "Hey, I remember that game. It's when her, Samantha, and Kaylin came up from Texas." I explained that a little bit, Evo. And she was like, "I just didn't understand. I got mentioned on a podcast. I'm happy." And I'm like, you were part of that memory. It was something that I'll always remember because they were trying to get my Evo game. And if they listen to this, well, they know they was trying to get my Evo game. And I said, no, I ain't giving out Evo because Evo's an awesome game. And even though it's like so like simple with the depth of it and just being able to create whatever kind of animal you wanted as you moved through all the stages of life was just awesome. Again, more. We're at the Super Nintendo. You go Nintendo 64, right? Nintendo 64. Those are GoldenEye days. That's WWF No Mercy days. Mario Kart 64. Look, I brought that up. That was a really big game with me and my brother. When me and my brother lived together, we literally played that game from the time we got home from work all the way till we went to bed. That's all we did. We went through the 50cc, the 150cc, the 200cc. We did all the special boards. We raced ourselves. We set in records. Like I had a Mario Raceway. Man, it was like top thing. I think I had a lap of like 23 seconds to 20 seconds. Like I'm fast. Literally, I looked at the Nintendo Power at the time. I was in the top percentage, the top 1% at my speed on that game. That's how much we played it. And we would talk amongst each others. And like I said, when I pulled out that banana technique, there was other things. Okay, so I used to piss my buddy Brian and Tommy off because I would always have Mario, who's considered a middleweight, right? So like the one would take Yoshi, Tommy was always Yoshi, and Brian was always Toad. So I would always like run into them if I didn't have anything, and I would hit them and I would take their balloon. Of course, I'm talking about battle at this point on Mario Kart 64. So I would hit them and then bam, take their balloons. And they would get really mad about that. Oh, you just got Mario, it's his game. So they just didn't look. Right. I was running my mouth the one night. I was like, go ahead, big boy. Take Bowser. Take Donkey Kong. I'll run them over too. Yeah, I'll run them over. Right. And I bet all you right now are doubting me. All of you are doubting me, man. Right. You're like, Mario cannot run them over. Those are heavyweights. Right. They automatically win. No, it don't happen that way. I was like, come run at me, right? So he went running at me, and I went right into him, and right before he hit me, I jumped. Bam! Took that balloon. What? Yeah, I bet none of y'all thought I was gonna do that, right? But guess what? That's the type of competition when you drive it out of me, you get. And that's what pisses a lot of my friends off. But they beat me too, and when they beat me, the satisfaction is good. When I brought up when my brother did that belly flop when he beat me in NBA 2K, yeah, he had a jack team. And I was just mad because you have the created player, and then you threw him on the Knicks who were already great in NBA 2K. They were one of the best teams in NBA 2K, man. Right? And he's sitting there, he's adding this 99 big 7'10" dude and just knocking Shaq. Dude, made Shaq look like Muggsy Bogues. I ain't even lying. And then he hits the whole shot. But the thing is it was about he beat me. He never beat me at a sports game before. This was the first time that he ever beat me. Leading up to it, he was practicing a lot, getting better. He was working hard. And he finally got that match with me and he beat me. And regardless he had the 99, and I want to just fall back on that, he kept the game close. I could have went out. In the second game, I did beat him, but he was in it. I had to hit some free throws. He did try another half court shot. If he would have hit that, I would have got really even madder. But whatever, things move along. And so TurboGrafx 16, they have the Turbo Tap has 5 controller sockets. So me, my buddy Dave, and even my brother, we would all get on there and we would play Motor Rotor, Dungeon Explorer. I think the one night, me and my buddy, I think it was me, Tommy, my buddy Cricky, and John, I'll just call him JP. And we all played 4-player at Dungeon Explorer. And we could have had one more player. And we're just all running around, just and this goes back to like Nintendo 64, Gauntlet Legends. I don't think that game is just fun, cool, how you have to get the keys, get all the secret areas. One night, me and my JP and this dude Cricky actually played the entire game through with Tommy We just did it. And the one board, we were on this board for 45 minutes because we forgot we couldn't find the one key. And it was this one little dip over here. We got it 45 minutes. We beat that game all together. Again, the same way I talk about how I've always had all of my systems, I've always had the extra taps and multi-taps in PlayStation too. I have that too. I have the extension for that because it's always been about gaming with my friends and my family. And that's why I've always had those options. That's why I've always had extra controllers. And of course, I've seen some of them get thrown, and that kind of pisses you off at times. But I get it. I just gave an L out, and somebody's mad. So that's kind of the thing with gaming. You remember all those moments. You go ahead to the PS2, all the games for that, the Need for Speed Underground, Need for Speed Most Wanted, the list goes on. I'm going to leave everything out because I don't want this to run too late. But at the same time, when you go through like the Xbox 360 years, and then you go through my PlayStation 4 years, and how much time, the time that me and my daughter spent playing Battlefront 1 and Battlefront 2 and looking up Stay Bombastic. So if you go check him out. He's a crazy dude, but his videos are straight funny. He actually put me up in top kills a few times, man. They really loved my Vader kill. The one time I snuck up on the whole team and I killed all four of them in like 3 strokes. And he was like, whoa, he killed the whole Purple's trilogy in one blow. And I was like, yeah. And then there's one time I was getting crazy with Han Solo. I was all about throwing the bomb and I was like exploding it in halfway and it was like leveling dudes. And while they were on the ground, I would go give him the shoulder bop, and then we go flying backwards, and then I would go, but I would heat up, the shooter blaster pistol, the special that he has for that. Man, there's just people. I was giving out something else, so I submitted the one that one time, and then I blew this dude. It was Kylo Ren. He freaking jumped in the air, and I threw this bomb and exploded him back into a pit. And they always love pit shots, and I was like, woo! And they were like, wait a minute, what did that guy do? And they kept replaying me going, woo! It was so wild, man. But the great times again with my daughter, my oldest daughter, my son, just so many times, so many different video games that we've all been able to play, experience. Even my wife, me and my wife play a lot of Crusader games. She used to play Diablo 2 back in the day. She doesn't really like, the controller style games. So Knowledge is Power is one of the games we like to play a lot. And it's a really good game. If you never ever checked out Knowledge is Power, you need to go check that out. You and your family would have a great time. You just use your little phone, you answer some questions. There's some little things like ice where you have to break the ice if someone throws ice on you. You have to break the ice before you can pick the question or wipe away the gloop or try not to hit these little things that'll explode and then it'll stun you and you can't pick it. And it's really 4 people playing that game. And I want to say the new one, Knowledge is Power Decades, is 6 players, 5 players at the same time. I mean, that's a crazy party game again. That's been my entire life. It's been this whole thing of playing sport games, just destroying RPGs and collecting as many of them. I have a ton of RPGs for the PC too. Like, of course, I have Diablo 2, Diablo 3, Diablo 1 for that. I got this game called Black and White, never installed it. I just know it was a new game that came out and it was a strategy game. Look, I got Invictus, Age of Empires. Heard that brought up on a VGM episode today. That was really cool too. And at the same time, I have so many other games that are just top notch. Half-Life, Alien vs. Predator, Alien vs. Predator 2. I played these online. Ultima Online, played that online. I played this game called Anarchy online with my buddies when I was leaving. Motor City Online. A lot of people don't know about Motor City Online. $5 a month gets you got a salary every single week, and then you could race other people in the world, and you could try to get in the top for speed and points for the week, and then they would give you bonuses there, and you could full customability of your car. You talk about, well, what's the difference between like Forza now or something like this? Like, you got to think that this was back in the mid 90s. And you could go small block, big block, pistons, this, that, the other, headers. You bought every part of the engine practically. And you had so much customability because when they did part 5, so this is after 5 Porsche Unleashed for Need for Speed, and you could do so much tuning in part 5 that sometimes I thought that if you actually messed around with it too much, it really made Porsche Unleashed unfun. So if that makes sense. But at the same time, when you're coming back and you're listening and you're going through all these years, all these decades, all these systems, I've missed a lot of games. I hear people talk about the Personas, never played them. I beat Chrono Trigger. I own Chrono Cross, day one Chrono Cross, right? Never played it. My buddy went and bought the strategy guide. I still have the strategy guide. So like that is gaming to me. Gaming to me is fun with your friends, making sure you have a lot of stuff and having a pretty cool catalog, man. I mean, being able to have at one stage of my life a Nintendo 64, a TurboGrafx 16, a 3DO, and a PlayStation. I never knew what to play, of course, when I Final Fantasy right here. And then I was playing Luciana's Quest on my 3DO over here. And then I'm over here on my Nintendo 64 playing that with my friends because it's funny because my buddy JP made that comment the one time. He goes, we talk about all these role-playing games, Vandal Hearts. We talk about Breath of Fire 3. We talk about everything, right? Wild Arms. I'm going to bring that up too because like I said, my boy JP was all about the Breath of Fire. So I beat Breath of Fire 3 and Breath of Fire 4. I started Breath of Fire 1, but it's a little dated. I ain't got time for that. I got so many other games that I got to play. And unfortunately, I might miss a good game, but I can always go back and listen to the VGM and get kind of a sense of where that game came from. But I played 3 and 4. We're good, right? Wild Arms. I stopped at 2, loved Wild Arms 2. My brother loved Wild Arms 2. Wild Arms was his series. I have Wild Arms 3 as well, too. So I have all these games I've just never played. It's crazy. But I've Kudelka. I've Kudelka. Who has a lot of people don't have Kudelka, but I have it. It's just again, I have Ogre Battle 64. I have Ogre Battle Tactics. I have Ogre Battle the Shadow Queen one, whatever. I got all these games. I never played them. But the thing is that they're always there if I ever do want to go play them. And for some reason I've been gifted to actually have a TV, which is still hooked up to my sound system, to be able to play any of these games on any of my systems at any time, because that's how you bring the pain to gaming. That's what we do, right? And that's gaming. So I want to talk about my gaming communities. I want to give a lot of shouts out right now. I will miss a lot of people because I can't think of everybody at once. And I, just trying to keep it down on the time and things like that. But let's go for it. We got Josh Lopez, the owner of Toys from Low and Lowe's Arcade Mania in Lockport, New York. You need any kind of video game, you need a game hunted down, Josh will find it for you. I swear, this dude finds things. A lot of my games literally have recently have come from Josh that I needed to like just make sure I had in my collection, right? But the day my Nintendo 64, original Nintendo 64 gave out, the one I put on layaway at Kmart, earned it, had all the games for it, finally got it out, right? It died. He had me my new Nintendo 64 2 days later. I called him that Friday. He had it packaged that night. He sent it out. It was just good timing. They had the day. It was at my house Saturday morning. I swear. It was just fast service. He's always really good. I also want to talk about Alex Messenger. He was just actually brought up. We're gonna do a podcast soon, so just stay tuned for that. But he was just brought up for the Faces of Erie, so that was a good thing. I want to talk to him about that a little bit. But his VGM journey has introduced me to people like Martyris of the ReVGM podcast, Professor Tom of the Shujin Academy. I've always talked to Bedroth, and so Bedroth is the BGM Mania podcast. So I've been listening to a lot of theirs. They're really long, so like sometimes you have a 2.5 hour podcast, so you're gonna get a lot of games, you get a lot of talking, the nostalgia, and I want to bring up them and the VG Embassy with Ruiner. Both of those podcasts give you so much knowledge about chip tunes and stuff. I never even thought about this stuff. I didn't have to. I was playing video games with my friends so much, throwing boxes out. I didn't care. I didn't know all my stuff. I was trying to get that. These guys have made an art out of video game music, and they have really wanted me to get a part of it. And that's why they called me out. That's why they got me to it. I'm planning a TurboGrafx 16 podcast for that. And that's going to be fun. I'm just putting it together too. So stay tuned because I got some bangers a lot of you have never listened to. So I don't want to go any more longer. I'm happy that all of you have stayed this long and heard about, my journey, what my retro to National Retro Video Game Day, and just everything that plays together and so much more with my PlayStation 5, going and playing with Fortnite with my daughter, and now my daughter's friend and even her dad. And we're sitting here placing in the top 5 practically every single game. We're just crazy, right? But I also want to say it's also National Women's Day. So you have to always remember, you can't forget about the women either. They're a whole big reason of why all of us are here. They are the real, true bringers. And even though that's that's I so when I say that because it's utmost respect. I don't have my mom anymore. So if you have your mom, tell her you love her. If you have a wife, tell her you love her. If you have a daughter, if you have anything, always support. Don't ever let them get weak. Try to see through it. It may not be easy at times, but know that we always got your back. Bring the pain. Oh, yeah. Have a great day, everybody. And always remember to play the games. Oh, yeah.